You dare to walk this path with me? One misstep, and we fall to our ruin. So take your first step. It's now or never!
What is up, YouTube? It is RSMario here, aka RSM, the real Super Mario. For you guys, new people who don't necessarily know, that's what that stands for. I'm horrible at naming things. One of these days, if I ever have children, I'm gonna totally have to get like a focus group help me name my own kids. But yeah, so back at it again with another Fire Emblem Three Houses video. This time we have more classes. So I thought they were kind of done. Well, I assumed there would be more classes in the game because I mean, again, there's a big kind of balancing issue when it comes to the classes. But yeah, they did announce more classes. Didn't necessarily affect the issue at hand, which is basically that there's a ton of classes that are restricted. They're gender locked to male only classes, and it's not like a sexism thing. I'm not like a feminist or something, but it's just a balance issue with the game. So there's a lot of abilities and growths and things that the female characters won't get, or like growth styles or whatever, they won't be able to get because they can't have these classes. They did introduce 2 new female-only classes with the master class, but I mean, there's still like 5 dude-only classes plus the one that's in the master class. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But let's go. So the first one is the Falcon Knight. So we see that instead of riding a Pegasus, you're riding a full-blown unicorn out this piece. This is a female-only class. Now, of course, we don't know the abilities for these classes or the suggested, like, you know, what you need to get there. But these classes are proficient in sword, lance, and flying. So it's kind of like an upgrade to the Pegasus Knight. So that's interesting. The only weird thing about this is it doesn't seem to be an equivalent in the advanced class. So you go from Pegasus Knight to whatever you have in the advanced class once you hit level 20, and then you go back to being a flyer again with Falcon Knight. So it's an interesting way to do it. If you see me sweating, it's because it's hot. Like, I don't have AC back here. So this is gonna be a sweaty day. But yeah, and of course they call it a Falcon, so a Falcon unicorn. But to me, it just looks like a unicorn. But I mean, hey, it still looks sick though. Worm Lord. So basically, this is an upgrade to the Worm Rider. I know I'm probably saying that word wrong, but for some reason I just cannot get my tongue to say that today. Probably because of the heat. But yeah, so the Worm Lord is an upgraded class to the Worm Rider. It specializes in lances, axes, and flying. So it's kind of like the opposite of the Falcon Knight, which is swords, lances, and flying. Of course, it does have weakness to magic and bows, whereas the Falcon Knight is only weak to bows and resists magic. So, interesting. It's kind of interesting, though, that these are the last flying classes in this game. So there's no Dark Flyer type of class this time. Like, you know, how it's like a flying class that can do magic and weapons. But, I mean, that's cool, though. So this next class, I got legitimately hyped for this, okay? Because if you've been watching for a while, I did a video called Top 8 Classes I Would Like to See in Fire Emblem Three Houses. You can check that out in the card and in the description. So I put in a bunch of classes that I would like to see in the game. Some of them were classes from the past. Some of them were brand new classes I had made up. And one of the classes was a Spellblade-like class. And if you recognize Spellblade, then you probably play Final Fantasy Tactics, which means you're awesome. But Spellblade is kind of a class that is a sword user that uses magic. And essentially, that's pretty much what a Spellblade is. Now, of course, I didn't expect him to use Spellblade specifically, but I would like a sword magic user class that doesn't ride a horse. That does not ride a horse. Okay? And they gave us that with the Mortal Servant. The Mortal Servant is of course, it's like a samurai style. For some reason, it's carrying like 4 swords, but it's still it's a sword user that can use magic. There we go. That's the whole other half of my army. I'm gonna have like a horsey guy, an archer, and everybody else is gonna be hand to hand or masters or mortal servants. That's the whole army. Yo, you have no idea how I've been waiting for a class like this. Like, it is crazy that we actually get one. The only thing is, of course, we don't know what its ability is. Hopefully it has some sort of special ability dealing with magic and swords. Of course, it's proficient in sword and reason, so swords and magic. The only thing I don't like about this class is the name. Mortal Servant just seems like a weird name. It seems like it's something that would be from Fates, with like this like an upgrade to like the butler or the maid class. It's like the Mortal Servant. He serves just like a butler, but he's got like hella armor. He's got like an armor on, and then on top of it, he's got his vest and his little tie for like being a butler. You know, like that's what it sounds like to me. Like, still though, we got it. Spellblade is in. This is gonna be awesome. Lord, I'm melting. Whew, Lord. Okay. So next we have is the Great Knight. So of course this one was expected. It's like a Uber Paladin. Of course it'll probably have some kind of really cool special ability to set it apart from just being a stronger Paladin. Of course it's good in lance, axes, and heavy armor. So if I'm not mistaken, let me look if the Paladin has heavy armor. I don't think he does. No, he doesn't. Okay, so yeah, that's one of the things that's going to differentiate it from the Paladin, is that it has heavy armor and not just regular armor like a Paladin, which is good. This is definitely going to be a pretty useful class, because you can put him in the front and he'll be like this brute, like, tank that goes out front dealing damage, absorbing damage, while you can do flanks or any kind of crazy stuff like that. Of course, yeah, so that's definitely interesting. Cavalier, Paladin, you know, big ol' Great Knight. We get the Bow Knight. So I expected to see the Bow Knight eventually, because I think the Bow Knight has been in most of the modern Fire Emblem games. I know it was in Fates. I know it was in Awakening. So the Bow Knight is pretty much self-explanatory. Pretty much the same as the other Bow Knights. It's good with bows, swords, and it rides a horse, which is a pretty interesting unit, because it's a mobile unit because it rides a horse, and it's long range because it's an archer. So that's a very good unit. Not to mention it can go hand to hand because it's got swords. So pretty cool. The Dark Knight. So the Dark Knight is another self-explanatory class from the older Fire Emblem games. I think this has been in most of the modern Fire Emblem games. I know it was in Fates because one of the Nor princes was a Dark Knight. So of course, this time though, it's different. Dark Knights don't use swords. They use lances now. So it's lances and magic. So that's pretty interesting. It's kind of interesting that they would do that and give us the Mortal Servant, you know what I'm saying, class at the same time. I'm good with that. Holy Knight. So this one is cool too. Alright, so this one's a pretty cool class. So essentially, Holy Knight is kind of like the adverse of Dark Knight. So Holy Knight uses white magic or faith, and it has, you know, of course it also uses lances. I don't think it has heavy armor. It doesn't. So it does not have heavy armor. So it's just lances, faith, and riding. So that's pretty interesting. The first thing I thought of when I saw this class was a troubadour. And I was like, yeah, this is kind of like a beefed up version of the troubadour. The only difference is troubadours can use black magic, whereas these guys don't. They're strictly healers, and they use lances, which is still kind of sick. It would have been cool if they called him like the White Knight or the Paladin Knight or something like that, because he uses white magic. But Holy Knight is cool too, though. Oh, they could have called it. They could have called him. What do they call it? They could have called it the Crusader Knight. The Crusader Knight. Maybe they didn't want to make too many references to the Crusades, but Crusader Knight would have been cool for this, though. So this class, they kind of trolled me with this one, because I was scrolling through Serena's Forest, which is where I get most of my information for these particular videos, and I got to the top of this class, and I saw W, and I saw M, and I was like, hold up. Did they put the War Monk in the game? I scrolled up. They didn't put the War Monk in the game. So it's actually Warmaster. So this is an upgrade to the Grappler class, which is it uses axes and brawling, which is fine. Of course, it's another male-only class. More than likely, you probably need Grappler certification to get to this class. So that makes this class male only by default, because in order to get grappler certification, you need to be a grappler, and grappler's male only. And you know, I've been touting this for a minute, but yeah. So it should be interesting to see where they go with this to differentiate it from the grappler. And now the last class is an interesting one. So this is called the Maury. It's a female-only class that uses faith and reason. So it uses healing magic or white magic and dark magic. So interesting, because the name Maury is actually a reference to demonology, similar to Byleth, you know, and it's a reference to a demon that is said to be the Duke of Hell. It's supposed to be rule over several legions of demons. And it's basically, it looks like, it's a demon that looks like a woman. It has a crown and has a pimped out camel. And basically, she is Mr. Steal Your Girl. Like, she, you know, girls fall in love with this demon duke. They just go roll up on her pimped out camel and be like, what's up, girl? And then that's it. Your girl is gone. So these classes look interesting. I definitely think that this is probably the last bit of classes we're gonna get, which is cool but also kind of unfortunate, because it doesn't really fix the balancing problem that this game's gonna have with these classes. But all in all, these classes seem to be pretty cool, so I dig them. I love the fact that we've got the Spellblade class kinda in the game. I'm super stoked about that. I also like the Holy Knight. I kind of like that. It's like a white mage, but it's like a white mage who's like, no, man, I'm tired of being on the sidelines. I'm about to get in here and fight. You know what I'm saying? That's sick too. So that's about it for this video. Watch out for my next Fire Emblem video. It's gonna be a little bit different. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, folks, keep it real.